Today I'm going to show you the 10 essential IntelliJ shortcuts that will make you feel like a coding god. Alright, so the first essential keybind is for navigating your project. Press Command 1 or Control 1 for Windows to open up your project view. From here you can quickly see a tree-like overview of your project. You can quickly create a new file or directory with the Command and N keys, or if you're on Windows, Alt and Insert. So the next keybind is for navigating quickly between files in IntelliJ. Hit Command Shift and O on Mac to open up this dialog, or Control Shift N if you're on Windows. Here you can now type in any file name inside of your project. As you can see, it opens up below and you can click Enter to navigate to the file. While we're still on the topic of searching, if you click Shift twice, it will open up a menu that looks very similar to the previous one, except for now you can search for anything inside of the project and your IDE. This means if you look something up like rename, it'll give you loads of options for renaming the file, rename all occurrences, you get the picture. Alright, so another way we can navigate between our files inside of our IDE is using the recent files feature. On Mac, hit Command and E, or on Windows, Control and E, and it'll open up a dialog like this, where you're able to see all your recent files you have opened inside of this project. You can navigate through them using the arrow keys, and when you find one, hit Enter, and it'll take you straight to that file. Another neat feature that I like that IntelliJ has done, open up the menu, it will instantly put your cursor on the previous file you were just on. Therefore, you don't have to manually every time search for the file that you were just on, so you can quickly navigate between files just like that. Boop, 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 boop. Alright, moving away from file searching now, let's talk about surrounding our code with structures. Here we have a simple program where we have a variable of x assigned to 10, and we print the value of x, which in this case is 10. Now let's say I want x only to be printed if it's more than 5. Instead of manually going in and typing in if x is more than 5, then print this line, you can use the surround with something feature, or that's what I call it at least. So place your cursor on the line you want to surround something with, and in this case I'm going to click Command, Option and T. For Windows it's Control, Alt and T. This gives you a menu like this, where you can then select all these different blocks that you can surround your code with. I'm going to surround mine with an if else. And as you can see, it's put our print straight into the block and put my cursor into the brackets where I can type in a condition. So now I can type x is more than 5. And inside of my else, I can print something like this. This is a super useful keybind and it saves me so much time every time I'm programming. Alright, so while we're here, let's go over the actions menu. By pressing Command, Shift and A, or in Windows Control, Shift and A, it opens up this dialog, similar to what you've seen before, but this time we're in the Actions tab. This is all the actions you can do within your IDE. So, I've already got it selected here, but let's say I want to rename a variable. I go over the variable, I type in rename, and then I click Enter. This will prompt me with something like this. This means we're in rename mode, which means that now I can type in something else, like how many likes this video should. Ooh, spelling is not it today. How many likes should this video get? Click Enter, and it's renamed it, and it renames every single instance of this variable across the whole project. You can do this with functions, variables, anything that has a specific name. Of course, the keybind to quickly rename something is Shift F6. But I wanted to go over the actions menu because I feel like sometimes you don't have a keybind for something, or you just forget what your keybind is. You've got a whole list that you can just type in and search for what you want to do. It makes this menu super powerful and super useful. Now, sometimes you would like to extract an expression into a separate variable for code readability and cleaner code. Now, inside of IntelliJ, you can easily do this. Highlight an expression or select an expression, just like this, and then you can hit on Mac Command, Option and V. On Windows, Control, Alt and V. This will extract the expression into a separate variable. Here I'm just going to quickly name it is Apple. This makes it super simple to make code more readable and to extract functionality into separate variables without having to move code about yourself. The IDE just does it for you. Alright, so while we're on the topic of extracting stuff out, let's talk about extracting to a function. Here I've got a basic program that just returns and prints out the count of how many apples are inside of this list. Now, let's say I want to extract this functionality separately from the main function. You can easily do this inside of IntelliJ by highlighting the code you want to extract, hitting Command, Option and M, or on Windows, hitting Control, Alt and M, which will bring up this menu. Now, I want to have it outside of our main function block, but I want it to be inside of our file, which is what this main.kt means. It means it'll be inside of this file, but it'll be outside of any scope. Selecting this option means it'll be inside of the function main scope. So create a new function inside of function main. I'm going to select the main.kt option. As you can see, this creates a new function below where I can now rename it. I'm going to quickly call it how many apples. And that easy, now I've got another function that tells me how many apples are inside of my fruit list. Now the next topic I want to cover is live templates. Live templates can save you tons of time. A very similar thing is snippets. If you've ever been inside of VS Code, you've probably used a snippet before. It's the same thing here, but inside of IntelliJ instead. So to open up the menu, you can use Command and J, or on Windows Control and J, which will open up this little menu where you can then select whatever template you want from the pre-existing templates. Let's do fun one. Here it gives me a template where I can fill out for a basic function. So let's say hello X, can be any uint, whatever. Oh, sorry, unit, not uint. And let's do print with X. Now that saves me so much typing, and you can do it with loads of other things. I mean, if you look here, you've already got all of these pre-made ones, like let's do serror, system error.println. Another one we've got, which is quite commonly used, is out. Another way you can obviously initiate them is by simply typing them out. It'll come up here. These are all live templates. Do the same thing. You can also create your own live templates inside of the settings, but I'm not going to go over that today. If you want to see a video of that, let me know in the comments below. Now another cool thing you can do, which I believe is still within the live templates feature, is let's say I've got this expression here, 3 plus 23. If I type in .var after that, I can select the expression and it'll create a variable for me. Let's just say, I don't even know, I add. So this can save you loads of typing when you're creating something like, let's say I want to create a string that just says, hello, how are you? Oh, that's close enough. I can type in .var afterwards and it'll create me a string. And it already gives me some preset names and uses AI now to give me some names, but this just saves you loads of typing. Call it a template, call it an extractor variable, but you can do it with other things, so experiment yourself. Now the final essential keyboard shortcut that I've got to show for you today is to quickly duplicate lines. Now I'm using Vim, so I can still do YYP, which will paste the whole line below, but still a quicker approach is by using the basic duplicate command. So on macOS, you can do Command and D, which will just duplicate the line down. On Windows it's Control D. Super simple, but it's a huge time saver. You need to write loads of print lines, there you go. I know we're ending off on a simple one, but in my opinion, sometimes simplicity is the biggest influencer. And that's it. 10 essential IntelliJ shortcuts that in my opinion will make you a faster and a more productive developer. If you want to see more IntelliJ tips, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.